So bald kriegen wir vielleicht Chat Control. Chat Control, die autoritäre, totalitäre Maßnahme von der EU, die all unsere Chatberichte auf WhatsApp, auf Signal, auf Telegram, egal wo, die möchte die alle erstmal überprüfen, bevor die gesendet werden auf illegale Inhalte. And they're saying it's for fighting child porn online. But look, guys, this is clearly a lie. Okay, it's clearly a lie. Now, of course, if child porn gets caught in these messages, they're going to go after it. Logical. That's their job. They should. You know, they shouldn't allow people to send child porn pictures online. Okay, but the fact that the EU, the European Union bureaucrats, Ursula von der Leyen and her corrupt team of cohorts, they want to literally read every message that every European citizen sends before they send it. And they're going to be able to do that with AI. And on the 14th of this month, it's going to be decided on in the EU, right? So in Brussels. And our buddies, Friedrich Merz and cohorts, you know, I don't trust him for shit, okay? He's basically bent over on every promise he's made. He's a totally worthless politician. You can't trust a fucking thing that comes out of Friedrich Merz's mouth. But we heard Jens Spahn come out and say, mit uns wird das nicht geben. Well, I've heard them all say that shit before. They also all said, there wird keine weitere Schulden gemacht. Schuldenbremse bleiben wir anhängen. There will be Bürgergeld reform. They've said so much shit. And Friedrich Merz just turned around and said, yeah, I know they all said that, but we're not going to do that. So I don't trust Friedrich Merz to vote against chat control in the EU. I think he's going to vote for it. But even if he does, and even if he does vote against it, what's important for everybody to understand is the EU is a globalist, totalitarian, authoritarian organization. They are not voted for, right? Ursula von der Leyen, nobody voted for that bitch, right? She's CDU. Friedrich Merz and her are big buddies. You know what I'm saying? The CDU wanted her in there again, even though she's being looked at for corruption. And she doesn't want to show us her text messages, right? The text message she had with Pfizer about the vaccines that are supposedly the best vaccine ever made ever, that has ended up killing a lot of people and giving a lot of people cancer and giving a lot of people myocarditis and all this crazy shit, the best vaccine ever made. Yeah. She has some corruption shit to answer for, but of course she never has to answer for it because, well, you know, she's Ursula von der Leyen, queen of the EU. And now they want to control every chat. Now, first of all, I'm going to tell you guys how to get around it if it comes. That's one thing. I'll get to that in just a second. But what's more important, the EU, the way it is right now, it needs to be reformed, right? The AfD is right. They need to reform it. Now, the AfD still thinks that there will be a way to reform the EU or to at least put it back in the box the way it was originally intended. The way the EU was originally intended was open markets, free markets, no borders, no visas, no nothing for all European citizens to trade goods back and forth, no long lines at the border for going to a different country. Basically, all of our countries is now merged into one big one that we can all travel to and send goods to. And hey, that idea is great. But what it turned into was they got rid of all the bureaucracy that has to do with fucking trading back and forth and driving across borders and all that shit. They got rid of that bureaucracy, but they replaced it with a new totalitarian bureaucracy. And what the EU actually wants is they want all of the European states, all of the European countries to bow down and give up their sovereignty completely to the European Union. And they're basically already there. The Germany is basically already, the politicians here are just like puppets for the EU, right? You hear them all the time. When they do something that they know the citizens are going to hate, they go, but it's EU. It's the EU, guys. Sorry. I know you voted for me, right? I know you voted for me and that I'm supposed to be running the country, but sorry. If the EU says no, it's no. And if the EU says yes, it's yes. You know how it is. We can't do shit. No, guys, no. These politicians are giving up their sovereignty to the EU. And the EU is a globalist organization. And we don't want globalism, right? None of us do. Nobody wants globalism. Because globalism means one world government with a couple of people at the top and everybody else are just plebs that are down there to fucking pay taxes for all the shit they don't get, right? Like fixed roads and bridges you can drive across and, healthcare and some other shit. No, basically we're paying taxes so we can fund the Ukraine and bike paths in Peru and Israel and every war across the planet and all kinds of shit the citizens of this country didn't ask for, didn't want, didn't get a vote on, nothing, right? Whatever little figment of democracy we have left in Germany, right, is almost gone completely. They can't call this a democratic republic. America is also a democratic republic. And luckily, because of Donald Trump, it's turning back into a democratic republic. But Germany they should take it's just a republic. There's no democracy, right? It's basically a socialist-driven country because the state wants to involve itself in everything. You see, in a country where capitalism runs the show, right? Capitalism decides how the market goes, right? But in Germany, they want to call it capitalism, but they want to run it like China does, right? So they say it's capitalism and democracy, but really it's not because German politicians, along with EU politicians that nobody ever voted for, basically steer the country in the direction they want. Let's look at the climate ideology shit. If the market was going to decide whether or not we have to drive electric cars or gas cars or diesel cars, well, normally the market in a capitalist country, right? The market decides that. And if the market sees that, well, nobody wants a fucking electric car, plus there's nowhere to charge them, so the more people that get an electric car, the more problem it's going to be for the electric grid. And so they're unreliable. There's not enough battery capacity. There's not enough charging stations. And so they're too expensive. So people don't really want them, right? Plus, electricity is more expensive than gas. You know what I'm saying? In Germany. I mean, maybe not exactly, but hey, it's going to cost, I bet it costs almost as much to fill up your car with electricity as it does with gasoline or diesel, right? I don't think you're saving much money there. Plus, you have to stand at the fucking pump for 45 minutes. It's ridiculous. I see those people standing there with their stupid fucking electric cars. Oh, standing there for drinking coffee and fucking around because it takes 40 minutes to fucking charge the bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. But in a capitalist democracy, the government doesn't say, no more gas-powered cars, people. We're going to go electric. No, the market says that, right? And here in Germany, they don't want to let the market decide. The government wants to decide. So that's a problem. So that's not democracy. That's not democracy. When the politicians of a certain city like Ludwigshafen make sure that the AfD candidate for mayor gets thrown out on some flimsy bullshit, thought up, made up shit, right? That's not a democracy. If one side of the government is basically extricating the AfD out of every position they can possibly get, is banning the AfD to different corners of the Bundestag. They won't let them do this. They won't let them do that. They use the media, the politicians, all the media, basically taxpayer money to try to fight the opposition with court cases, with illegal, with not, what am I going to say? What am I trying to say here? With untrue things. They are, and it's all funded by the taxpayer. That's not a democracy, right? That's what they do in banana republics. They're trying to ban the AfD, okay? They only do that kind of shit in banana republics. So stop calling Germany a democracy. It's fucking not. And if we even have a little bit of democracy left, it's about to get taken away by the EU, because once you live in a country where your government reads your text messages before you send them, that is not a democracy, people. That's an authoritarian, China-like Überwachungsstaat, right? That's what it is. And see, nobody asked us if we want chat control. Nobody sent me a letter when I can vote on something. Nothing. They just go, Ursula von der Leyen and her cohort of corrupt people just go, from now on, we're going to read all your text messages and ain't shit you can do about it. And hey, look, it's to fight child porn, guys. We promise we're not going to use it for anything else. Yeah, how many times we heard that shit? Look at America. After 9/11, they got the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act allowed the NSA and the CIA to illegally spy on every American. We've still got problems in America with the intelligence agencies spying on the people, their very people they're not allowed to spy on. But because of the Patriot Act, They can do it. It's legal now. And that's America, the freest country on the planet, right? So if you think that Germany and these European countries are not going to use this against you and me, right? They certainly are going to use it against us, right? Oh, if you write too many good things about the AFD, you're going to be on a list. If you write something private, you're going to that they don't like. If you send a meme or a joke about Schwachkopf Robert Habeck, which is a Schwachkopf, he's a fucking total dumb shit. He's a total dumbass. The guy is dumber than a bag of dicks. He's dumb as fuck. He's a Schwachkopf 100%. Fuck him. You know what I'm saying? Fuck him in the ear. Really. I don't give a shit about Robert Habeck or any of those fuckers, right? But if you write that in your WhatsApp messages to your friends, now Ursula von der Leyen's going to know about it, right? And the AI is going to filter all that shit out. You think they're just going to put a filter on it for just child porn? Fuck no. They're going to put a filter on AFD, on the right, skinheads. They're going to put a filter on memes, everything. And they can promise all the shit they want, but they don't ever keep their promises. They're all liars. They're lying motherfuckers. They've lied to us about every fucking thing. So why would you trust them if they say, guys, we're just going to use it to fight child porn? Don't worry. Don't worry. We're not going to use it as a Chinese totalitarian control mechanism. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Okay? So more important than this chat control thing not happening, right? They've tried to do this already 100 times, right? And they want to get it through. They're going to keep trying. They're going to try it this way, that way. They don't want us to be free. They want to have control over every little aspect of our lives. I don't know what more proof you people need, okay? And the only thing you can do is get rid of these fucking elites, the establishment politicians in every one of these countries, right? But we're in Germany, so that's what I care about here, right? I can't speak for all the other countries because I can't split myself into 10 different places. So for Germany, the way to go is to get these people, Friedrich Merz and all these fuckers, out of office because he is a liar. Even if he votes against the chat control, they're going to look for a backdoor way to do it anyway. Because what Friedrich Merz does is he's not for the people. He is for the establishment, for the status quo. And he knows that he needs the people to get elected and to keep popularity. And so he'll tell us what we want to hear. But when we're not looking, Friedrich Merz is going to do exactly what Friedrich Merz wants to do. And what he wants to do is become a globalist leader. The problem with these globalists in the EU is they think they're going to be at the top of the pyramid once the one world government is set in. No, they're not. No, they're not. Friedrich Merz is not going to be part of that thing. You know what I'm saying? But they all believe in this shit. They believe in this shit. Even though it's not working in any place on the planet. The globalist shit is not working. Donald Trump, totally against globalism, right? He's fighting it. And if you've got America fighting against globalism, good luck. Because America's not going to go for it. America will not give up their sovereignty to some EU bureaucrat, globalist, WEF, fucking Klaus Schwab. They're not going to do it. China's not going to do it. Unless they're leading it. And the Europeans don't want that. So good luck getting the globalist system in. It's better to just let it go, right? It's better to just let it go. And what we need in Germany is politicians that are willing to say to the EU, listen, we'll stay in the EU, but you stay out of our internal affairs. All the EU is for is open borders between the EU countries, free trade between the EU countries, and the euro. And that's it. And Ursula von der Leyen and none of these fucking cohorts and none of these corrupt motherfuckers in Brussels get to tell us one thing about how we run our country. That's what we're going to do on our own. So if you want to take a bunch of fucking migrants into the European Union, great. Make a deal with one of the countries that wants to take them all. We're done. That's what we need. Politicians that are willing to stand up for the people in the country. And unfortunately for Germany, there's only one party and one group of people that are even going to try, and that's the AFD. Don't start thinking that Friedrich Merz is such a great dude because he might vote against this thing, right? I don't believe he's going to because I think he's a liar. I think he's a fucking liar, right? And I think when push comes to shove, Friedrich Merz will always take the position of, I want to stay in power. And if to stay in power, he has to vote for chat control and allow his citizens to be constantly monitored like little children. well, then he's going to do it. But even if he doesn't, that doesn't mean anything. That's his job to say no to something like that. So don't fucking clap for the guy. Don't praise him to high heaven. Don't say, wow, Friedrich Merz really is turning it over a new leaf. No, get rid of him as soon as possible. It's too late for Friedrich Merz to redeem himself to any of us. It's too late. He's already fucked the German people and the tax-paying citizens of this country in the ass like harder than they ever have been before. No Vaseline, no baby oil, nothing. Just ram, 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 fucking us. Well, he's getting fucked by fucking Lars Klingbeil. Right? Even if he votes against it, that's not a big accomplishment. That's not like, wow, Friedrich, you're great. No, that's his job to go against shit like this. The only people that are really going to do it, that are really going to try to change this country around, is the AfD, right? And we're going to have high expectations of them once they get in, which is going to be, it's going to be hard because they're going to have a lot of cleaning up to do. It's not going to go real fast. I mean, these leftists and the Friedrich Merzes and the Angela Merkels and the globalist motherfuckers have had decades to tear this country, run this country into the ground. So you can't expect the AfD to fix it in 5 minutes. It's going to take a bit. That's why we need to vote the AfD in, give them a full majority, let them make all the decisions. No more CDUs or SPDs or Klingbeils or Merzes. They're all gone. Fuck them. They're all gone. Right? Get rid of them all. Give the AfD full power. That's the way to go. That's the way to go. Because these people are just bleeding this country dry. This chat control thing. Let's assume it gets implemented, right? Listen, guys, I'm sorry to say, get a phone that you can just make phone calls with if you can, right? And start calling your people, right? Don't send any more pictures. Don't send any picture of your kids. Even I'm not saying that people are sending child porn. Don't send pictures of your kids to anybody because it'll get flagged by the system. If the system sees a kid in a bathing suit, it's going to get flagged. You're going to have the police at your house. You're going to have to explain yourself, just like the Stasi did. They would just come knock on the door. Well, we heard you said this. They're going to come knock on the door going, hey, well, you sent a picture of a half-naked child. Let's see, what's that about? Is that your daughter? Is that your son? And then you're going to have to go through this whole thing. And you're going to be on the list for a possible pedophile. So it's not anymore that you have the presumption of innocence in the country. No. Every citizen of the country is now a suspect. If this chat control shit gets put in, every citizen of the country is now a suspect. If you want to just write messages and you want to make sure that those messages are not flagged by the AI system, then you go to a website called Privnote, Privnote. I think it's .com. If you just put in Privnote, you'll find it. And there you can type out a self-destructing message. What that means is it gets opened one time by the reader, the person that gets it, and after that, it's gone. The system will only see links, right? Won't see the text. It can't open the message. It's going to let the file go through. The person you're sending the message to will open it and it'll be gone. There's no way for them to see it. That's for text only, though, right? That's for text only. Don't think that voice messages are not going to be caught on this, right? The AI transcribes voice messages into writing and will flag it that way. Voice messages is not a way around it. If you want to avoid the state seeing every one of your messages, then you're going to have to go back to taking a walk together and having a talk, calling on the phone, just having an actual phone call, not through WhatsApp, not just regular phone call, no voice messages, and no sending pictures that may be suspicious. And I would count memes in that too. They're going to flag memes, guys. You know what I'm saying? Now, I say keep sending memes, right? Because I don't give a fuck if they come to my house about a meme, right? Fuck off. I'll tell them to go fuck off. I can send whatever fucking meme I want. They can kiss my ass. And that's the attitude you people need to have, right? But don't send pictures of your kids, for God's sake. You don't want to be put on some sort of list for being a possible pedophile, right? That's the list you don't want to be on. And that's the list a lot of parents are going to get on. A lot of grandparents are going to be on because there are going to be innocent pictures of kids sent back and forth, and those are going to be flagged by the system, I guarantee it. This is a big mistake. But it's only the first step, right? It's only the first step. The digital euro is another step into totalitarianism. The EU is bringing us so close to totalitarianism that, I mean, that's where they want to go, guys. Why would they take all these European countries right to the edge of totalitarianism with a couple of toes over the line. And then say, okay, we're far enough into this is totalitarian enough. Why would you believe that? They want totalitarianism because they want everything to be the same. They want one government. That's what the EU is going to be. And we need to make that stop. And the only way to make it stop is either to get out, right? To leave the European Union as a country, or to move out of the EU as a person, or you try using the democratic process, like voting for the AFD, who will have the balls to say, at least I hope so. God, if they can't do it, man, we're fucked then. Then I'm done with Germany, right? If the AFD gets in power and they can't change anything, then it's going to come down to violence at some point. Hopefully by the time I'm dead. You know what I mean? But that'll be the only way. Or just be subjugated like the North Korean people. You know, we'll live like that. That's going to be it, because that's where they want to go, right? They want you poor and dependent on the government. That's what they want. That's why the Burger Guild thing is such a big thing. So we need a party in power that is going to be willing to stand up to the EU. And for Germany, it's pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy because Germany pays the large amount of the bills for the EU, right? So if the AFD, if Alice Weidel goes to the EU and says, listen, guys, how about you stop trying to gangle our people? How about you stop trying to interfere in our domestic politics? Or we're just going to pull the money and we're just going to leave. How about that? If Germany leaves the EU, it's done. And the bureaucrats in Brussels know that. All we need is politicians that have balls big enough to say that to them. To say, hey, we're paying the fucking bills, so hey, how about you dance to our tune? How's that? How's that, Ursula? Huh? Well, it won't be Ursula anymore because she's going to be gone then. You know what I mean? Because if the AFD's in power, nobody's voting for her. And nobody's voting for her. Right? Guys, it's so important. I know I'm sounding like a broken record here. I know that I keep saying the same thing over and over again. It's so important to vote for the AFD every single chance you can get and make it clear that we want this totalitarian globalist utopia bullshit to stop, right? We want it to stop. Leftists, wokesters, all those people are on board with that shit. They all have to be stopped. They can't have any power. Any. They can't be the head of a school. They can't be the head of a business. They can't. They've got to go. We've got to get them out of every position of power. They can deliver a pizza and shit. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? If they're on time, I'll give them a tip. Cool. Even then, I wouldn't trust a leftist or a wokester to deliver my pizza because they might do something to it. You know, to wipe their ass with it or something like that, because that's the kind of people they are. They're horrible fucking people. We need to get these people out of power. No matter what Friedrich Merz does with the chat control thing. No matter what he does. He's still got to go. All right? No clapping for him for doing his job, the basics of his job. And the basics of his job are, don't allow some sort of outside, unelected body like the EU to spy on your citizens' text messages. That should be the basics, right? You don't get claps for that. You don't get fucking, gros elope for that shit. You don't. It's like, okay, well, yeah, to be expected, right? And still, I think he's gonna vote for it. Okay, you know what the weird thing is? Viktor Orban is apparently for this chat control thing. That's weird. I don't know if it's true, but I heard it. I'd have to research it more to see if it's true. I wonder why he's for it. Because it seems really weird that Viktor Orban would be for this chat control thing. Now, maybe he's going to just use it against Antifa and the leftists and shit, and then I'm like, I don't care, fuck him. Use it against those people. I don't care. You know what I mean? But we know goddamn well that the German government and the EU is going to use it against people like me and people like you. Right? People that don't agree with anything this government is doing, that they consider far-right extremists. That's what they're going to work on. They don't give a shit about no child porn. They give a shit about right-wing extremism. Why? Because they know they're losing power. When they see they're losing power, they get more and more aggressive, more and more violent, more and more totalitarian. And that's why they need to get taken away from power, because they can't handle it when they're out of power. When they have no political power, they can't cram down their ideology on the rest of us anymore. And that frightens them to no end. That's why they're doing shit like this. That's why Ursula von der Leyen knows goddamn well that the EU and her and all the people, all the cronies, all the corrupt people are not popular at all. She knows that shit. But instead of just going gracefully and saying, okay, the people don't want me, I'm going to step down. No, she goes, I'm going to clamp down on these motherfuckers and give them no other choice. And I'm going to be in power forever. And that's what they want. They will take power however they can. And if they're given it by people voting for them, they're all right. Right? They're like, all right, cool. We didn't have to do any violence. We didn't have to take it from them. But if you don't give it to them, they're going to try and take it. They're ruthless. They're going to try and take it. And so they all got to go, people. Friedrich Merz is just one of them. He's a puppet for them. Right? He's not if Friedrich Merz really was a CDU chancellor, really was a Christian, right? Then he would be telling the left, hey, listen, guys, you're going to do what I want, or I'm going to fucking make a coalition with the AfD. Otherwise, it's either that or you can go my way and I don't take the AfD on. But if you don't, I'm going to go form a coalition with the AfD and get my agenda through. That's what Friedrich Merz would do if he was a leader, right? But he's not a leader. He's a loser. He's a loser that has Lars Klingbeil's hand up his asshole making him talk, right? That's what he's doing. That's all he's doing. So, again, what do you guys want here? Do you guys want violence in the streets, civil war, trying to take out the government by a bunch of rogue people with broomsticks? Because we don't have any guns. Not many. You know what I mean? Or do you want to use the democratic process, what's left of it, right? What's left of it? There's not much left. And after the next election, I think it's going to be totally gone if the people don't elect the AfD, give them a full majority, let them try to sort this out democratically before the shit goes all the way to hell in a handbasket. Chat control is the least of y'all's worries if these people stay in power. That's what I got. See you later.